1 in 3 people has experienced psychological manipulation in a romantic relationship, and most of them didn't know it was happening while it was. Not because they were naive, but because these tactics are specifically designed to feel like something else: love, concern, confusion, or just a rough patch. Here's every major one, mapped out completely, with the signal that tells you what you're actually dealing with. Love bombing. Love bombing doesn't feel like manipulation. It feels like finally meeting someone who truly gets you. Overwhelming affection, constant attention, declarations that seem too good to be true this early. The signal isn't the intensity itself. It's the speed and the conditionality. The affection arrives before they know you, and it will eventually be withdrawn the moment you don't comply with something. Real connection builds gradually. Love bombing front loads everything to create a debt before you've had time to think. Gaslighting. Gaslighting makes you doubt what you directly experienced. That never happened. You're too sensitive. You're imagining things. The signal is a specific pattern. You enter a conversation certain about something you saw, heard, or felt, and you leave it questioning your own memory or sanity, not because new evidence emerged, but because the other person simply denied it with enough confidence. The cumulative effect is that you stop trusting yourself as a reliable witness to your own life. Intermittent reinforcement. This is the engine that keeps people stuck in damaging relationships long after they know something is wrong. Affection and approval arrive unpredictably, sometimes after good behavior, sometimes randomly, sometimes after mistreatment. Your brain, wired to seek patterns, responds to that unpredictability the same way it responds to a slot machine, by trying harder, more desperately, to figure out what triggers the reward. The signal is finding yourself working to earn back something that used to be given freely. Isolation. Isolation rarely arrives as a direct order. It arrives as concern. Your friends don't really support you. Your family stirs up drama. I just want it to be us. The signal is a gradual narrowing of your world, fewer outside relationships, more dependence on one person for all emotional needs, that you realize happen slowly, in small steps, each of which seemed reasonable at the time. Guilt tripping. Guilt tripping converts the other person's wants into your obligations. After everything I've done for you, I sacrifice so much and this is what I get. The signal is the direction of the guilt. In a healthy relationship, guilt is occasionally mutual and tied to specific actions. In manipulation, it flows consistently in one direction, and the bar for what constitutes a debt on your part never quite disappears regardless of what you do. Stonewalling. Stonewalling is silence used as control, not the silence of someone who needs time to calm down. That's legitimate. The specific signal of stonewalling as manipulation is its timing. It arrives precisely when accountability would otherwise be required, and it ends exactly when you've backed down, apologized, or dropped the subject. The withdrawal isn't emotional regulation. It's leverage. Blame shifting. Blame shifting makes you responsible for the other person's behavior. You made me do this. If you hadn't pushed me, I wouldn't have reacted that way. The signal is the consistent direction. No matter what the original issue was, by the end of the conversation, the focus has moved to something you did wrong. Your original concern gets buried under a counteraccusation, and you find yourself defending yourself instead of addressing what you raised. Triangulation. Triangulation brings a third party into the dynamic, not to resolve anything, but to create insecurity and competition. My ex never had a problem with this. Everyone I've talked to agrees with me. The signal is that the third party is always invoked selectively, always in a way that positions you as falling short, and always at the exact moment when the other person would otherwise have to engage with your point directly. Minimization. Minimization trivializes your experience to avoid accountability. You're overreacting. I was just joking. It's not that serious. The signal is the gap between how significant something genuinely was and how hard the other person works to make it seem smaller. Everyone occasionally misjudges the scale of something. Minimization as manipulation is systematic. It consistently applies to the same person's concerns and consistently benefits the same person's accountability. Projection. In manipulation, projection means attributing to you the exact behavior the other person is actually doing. The partner who is lying accuses you of being secretive. The one pulling away accuses you of being distant. The signal is a specific quality of the accusation. It fits the accuser more precisely than it fits you, and it tends to arrive right when their own behavior is about to become visible. Coercion. Coercion replaces persuasion with pressure. Ultimatums, threats, punishments for noncompliance. These don't have to be dramatic or physical to be coercion. If you don't do this, I'll leave. I'll tell people what you did. The signal is the structure. A healthy request leaves room for a genuine no. Coercion doesn't. The outcome is predetermined, and your only real choice is whether to comply or face a consequence. The pity play. The pity play redirects accountability through victimhood. Every time responsibility for harm approaches the other person, a new story of their own suffering arrives. Childhood trauma, current hardship, how much they've already been through. None of that history is necessarily false. The signal is its function. It appears consistently at moments when accountability would otherwise land, and its effect is always to convert your legitimate concern into guilt about raising it. 12 tactics, one common thread. None of them announce themselves. They arrive dressed as love, confusion, or concern. The moment you can name what's actually happening, you stop doubting yourself and start seeing the pattern clearly, which is exactly why recognizing them matters more than cataloging them. If any of this sounds familiar, that's not a diagnosis of your relationship. It's a reason to talk to someone qualified to help you figure out what you're actually dealing with. Subscribe for the next full picture.